Take one more break. It may seem like unity and acceptance are hard things to come by these days, but one former state lawmaker trying to change that. The new children's book. Coming up, we'll talk with Patrick Ballantine about the book's message and his life after the legislature. Stay with us. Welcome back to Capitol Outside. I'm Tim Boyum. There's a lot of talk about divisiveness in our world these days, especially when it comes to politics. Now, a former top state lawmaker out with a new children's book promoting unity and acceptance. We now are joined by a former senator and former gubernatorial candidate, Patrick Ballantine, wrote the new book, We All Have Belly Buttons. He joins us now for more. Patrick, so good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Tim, thanks so much for inviting me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. We were just talking off camera that your run for governor feels like 100 million years ago. Does it feel that way to you?
It does. In some ways, it does. Interestingly, maybe once a week, people say, I remember your TV ad. My daughter was in an ad. It was called the Believe ad, and some people loved it, and some people thought it looked like Poltergeist. So that's how divided everything is in politics.
Speaking of that, because this is part of bringing everybody together, how do you think politics has changed where we are today from when you were in office and running for governor? Does it feel really different?
I tell you, it seems a little different because I was very close, I think, with both sides of the aisle. I mean, I was the Republican leader, but had dear friends, John Carr, Senator John Carr, Howard Lee from Chapel Hill, Leslie Winter, Mark Bassnight and I were great friends. So I'm not sure they have that same camaraderie today that they did, but everything's a little more tense now, and that's just the way it is. And I'm hoping this little children's book, We All Have Belly Buttons, can not only allow for little kids to giggle and have fun, but maybe the adults reading to them will pause a little bit and reflect, hey, we have differences, but we all have belly buttons.
Indeed we do. So people are going to watch this knowing you from your past, particularly people that watch this show, and say, wait a minute, he's writing a children's book about belly buttons.
Right.
So where does the root of all of this?
Well, actually, I first thought about a belly button when I was in the delivery room. My daughter was being born, and I'm standing right there as a nervous dad-to-be, right beside my wife, Lisa, at her bedside, and my daughter's born, and I see an umbilical cord. I've never seen an umbilical cord before, and I was mesmerized, really, and I was looking at the literal lifeline between mother and child. All of a sudden, it's cut, and I don't know if the doctor tied it in a knot like a balloon or clamped it or whatever, but that was going to be my daughter's belly button. And I just thought that was fascinating. And then we all have belly buttons, every single one of us, no matter where we're from, what color. And so I thought about it way back then.
It's 23 years ago.
23 years ago. And I thought about writing a book maybe around 2010. Everything nationally in politics was really divisive. And I wrote a draft of this book. And I would come to Raleigh every week, and I would have it in my green folder, and I would never look at it. I'd be busy all week, or life gets in the way, and you just don't follow up on things. And then this year, I had to get an emergency appendectomy, and my surgeon says, we're going right through your belly button with a scope. I said, wow, this is a sign. I need to finish my belly button book, and here we are.
Wow, that is amazing how that all comes together, isn't it?
I know.
Did you ever think you would finish it, going back to 2010?
No, like I said, I had good intentions, and I had it in my little green folder, and I took it to Raleigh every week, and I never touched it. And, I figured it'd be an unwritten or unpublished manuscript, and then with my appendectomy, things happened, and I said, I'm going to do this. So
that's fascinating. So take us through the book. What people will find. I mean, how did you end up writing this and putting this together?
Well,
because you weren't a children's author before, right?
No. Actually, I've published one thing in my life, and it was in the Wake Forest Law Review on regulatory reform.
A little different.
So this is quite different, yes. And I think, to call myself a children's book author is a little intimidating, actually. I mean, it's, as you can see, it's really not that big a deal, but
well, sure it is.
I think it's cute, and I know little kids love it, mainly because it repeats a chorus. We show little vignettes of everyday, ordinary experiences with two little kids who are different, and then the next page is them pointing to their belly buttons, saying, "Hey, we have this in common. We all have belly buttons," and it's all caps. And I think parents and grandparents and caretakers are going to read to their little ones, and maybe new readers will look at it and really probably joyously shout, "We all have belly buttons." So yeah, it could catch on.
Did you when you wrote this, because it comes from a point of fascination almost, but when you started writing, did it have this intention about sort of diversity and difference?
It did.
And unity? It did.
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, civility and equality, just basic common decency, really. I mean, that's for the adults, I mean, the adults are going to be reading it to a youngster, and they're going to enjoy the quality time, and they're going to laugh together. But hopefully the adult will also think of those underlying messages, because I think it's a good lesson, especially after this election season. People need to calm down, enjoy the Christmas season now, and appreciate, we're all different, but we all have belly buttons.
Well, even since 2010, life has changed so much dramatically with this divisiveness because of social media and whatnot. Do you ever think maybe you held on to it, not knowingly, because this is the right time, even more so?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I thought about that just on the drive up today, because I don't know why things happen sometimes. I don't know why I thought I was called to run for governor and then got smoked. I don't know. Things happen for a reason, though, and I didn't even do social media. People kidded me because I didn't have any social media, and now I joined social media, obviously, to try and let people know about the book. But yeah, I think that's maybe divine intervention telling me it wasn't time, and now I heeded the call this time after the appendectomy, and maybe timing is right. You never know. I'm not expecting this to be viral or anything, but I mean, if one family is changed because of it, then we can change the world one family at a time.
Yeah, that's what it takes. It's really neat. Well, where can people get a hold of this book?
Well, you can buy it on Amazon right now. It's weallhavebellybuttons.com, and you can buy it at barnesandnoble.com or Amazon, and it should be ready for Christmas if anybody wants to get this for their friends or family.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in.
Hey,
it's good
Tim,
to see you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything with the book. That's going to do it for us. Meanwhile, tonight, as always, if it's on Jones Street or Main Street, you will find it right here in Capitol tonight. Stay safe. Look after each other. See you back here.